Hey guys, it's Lily and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I am going to be sharing with you my best tips for dealing with test anxiety. So I've given you guys a lot of tips on this YouTube channel and on my Instagram account for how to be good students and how to get good grades on tests and how to study. So while this is all very important and you definitely need to follow these rules, sometimes you can do everything right, you can study all your material and still end up with a really bad grade on your test that you didn't want because of just anxiety. So I hope that these tips can help you, and if they did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Now let's get on to the video. So my first tip is to be as prepared as possible. So if you don't know how to study effectively, I have tons of videos on that I will link down below in the description box. So if you need some help in that area, I would definitely go check them out. So study as much as possible, because while this isn't going to fix your anxiety problem, it will make it a little bit better. I know personally for me, I always have anxiety when going into a test, but I know the feeling is very different when you're going into a test knowing that you haven't studied a single thing, or going into a test when you have prepared a lot. So both are anxious situations, but knowing that you've done everything you can to prepare is really going to help you feel less anxious when you're going into the test, and will actually help you do better because one, you know the material, and two, you're less anxious. So definitely make sure you're as prepared as you can be. My next tip kind of goes along with being prepared, and that is to be prepared by talking to your teacher. So besides just studying the material, you want to know what the exam is going to be like. So I know for me, I always ask my teachers, like, is it going to be multiple choice, short answer, written response, like a whole long response? I know that this will not only change the way I study, because you do study differently if you know it's going to be multiple choice or if it's going to be written response. So make sure to talk to your teacher, ask her how long, him or her, ask them how long it is, ask what kind of questions are going to be. This will help you study better, which will reduce your anxiety, and it will also reduce your anxiety on test day because you'll know exactly what to expect going in, and you will know that you have prepared accordingly. Okay, so my next tip is to just try to remember that it is just a test. I know that this is way easier said than done, but try to remember that it is just a test and that it's not going to be the end of the world if you only get an okay grade on it. I know it might not be ideal to what you want, but there's always alternate solutions. Maybe there's a rewrite, and if there's not, you can get your grade up with other assignments in the course. I mean, really, how much can a test bring your grade down? So say you only do okay, it's not gonna look like it's gonna drop your average like 20%. You have to try to think, like, is this going to affect my life in 10 years? And it's very likely that a unit test or something is not going to affect your life in 10 years. Sometimes for final exams it's a little different because you say, yes, it is going to affect my life, but that's where you just take a deep breath and you say, you know, it's just a test. Like, maybe I will mess up. Like, be prepared for that possibility that you might mess up, and say, okay, what's going to happen if I do mess up? And try to make a plan for that. Like, okay, a realistic plan for that. Like, okay, I messed up, maybe I can ask for a rewrite, maybe I can talk to the teacher, and if I have to, like, the worst case scenario is you have to redo the class, which often is not that big of a deal. Like, it seems like a huge deal at the time, but in the whole span of your life, doing one extra semester of school, or even just squeezing it into another semester, is really not that big of a deal. So you do have to make sure that you know that, because that will really calm your anxiety down. The other thing that is going to calm your anxiety down, because it does all start in the mind, is thinking of what could go right. We spend hours and hours as humans laying awake at night thinking of what could go wrong. Like, oh, I could forget everything, I could not know which answer to pick, I could be stuck between two answers, I could get a 50. Like, we sit there and we think of every situation that could go bad, and that just makes us more nervous. So really, there's about a 50-50 chance of stuff going right, and probably an even greater chance than that if you actually studied and did your work and have been going to class. You have a actually pretty good chance of it going right. And sometimes what makes it go wrong is just your anxiety. So you have a good chance of making it go right. Think of that. Like, think of, well, what if I get on the test and it's actually way easier than I thought? Or what if I go into the test and some questions are hard, some are easy, but then I come out with an actually pretty good grade and I'm proud of myself. So think of those situations, because they actually do happen a lot more than you think. And they also happen a lot more when you don't have all this anxiety. Students that do give themselves lots of positive reinforcement actually do better on tests than the kids that don't give themselves that positive reinforcement, because you're showing yourself that you believe in yourself and you feel more confident. By going in with confidence, you are more likely to succeed on your tests. Trust me, I have definitely tried this, and I'm not sure if it actually brought my grade up a certain number of percent or whatever, but I do feel more calm during the test, which I'm sure has led to better test results. And I always do notice that I do well on those tests that I give myself lots of positive reinforcement for. This is my final tip, and it is to make sure that you don't cram the morning before or night before, because if you prepared properly, you should know everything that you're gonna know with like the day before. Like if you're trying to cram in the morning, it's just gonna make you stressed, it's gonna make you anxious, it's gonna make you look at these notes and think, wow, I don't know anything on them, and then you're gonna forget everything you prepared because you're gonna be so stressed out and anxious. So do not cram the morning of, or even like don't cram instead of sleeping. That's also not a good idea. But definitely not in the morning. I'd recommend doing a little review the night before and then putting your books away. Because honestly, I don't know about you, but I look at my notes and think, wow, I don't know any of this. How am I supposed to remember? And then I get freaked out and then I forget all of it. So just by putting it out of your mind and only thinking positive things, like I've repeated many times throughout this video, it's going to make you more calm, more relaxed, and it's going to make you do better on your tests. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that it is going to help you with your test anxiety, and I hope you guys try out some of the tips that I mentioned, or if you already do them, that's great. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I post new videos on every Tuesday and Friday to help you do better at school and be much more organized. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!